Since I have my lifesaver on, I'm going to give you some lifesavers. Now, this is a large quantity of lifesavers. Everyone should be able to have 2. I was going to try and bring in life jackets for you all, but that would have been a big mess. So I've got tropical flavored lifesavers. They are my favorite, but you should feel free to take 2. If there's 192 of you, which may be, there should be enough for everybody to take 2. So if you very gently pass those around, you can eat 1 during the sermon, unless your mom says you can't. I'd like you to save the other one for a little bit of application later on. Now, it really is no surprise to people who know me that I don't really like water. In fact, you could say that I fear water. Having learned to swim at the tender age of 34, I have struggled. And so I have been fascinated by lifeguards all my life. People who actually jump in the water to save people like me. And last time we were on vacation, we were down at Daytona Beach. And that's where I met Caitlin. Caitlin, the lifeguard. I tried to know who might be saving me later. I talked to Caitlin and just said, I'm one of those. And you might need to come in after. And had a wonderful conversation with her. Daytona Beach is a beach that's about 25 miles long. It's patrolled by 300 lifeguards, and there are approximately 3,000 rescues every year. Now, in 5 years, Caitlin has rescued 45 people. One of them died, and she revived him. So she is 45 and up, as that goes. And I asked her straight up, you're patrolling the ocean. You've got a lot of people to watch. How does that work? How do people drown? And she said something very interesting to me. She said, drowning really is a process. Drowning is a process, and it's fabulously outlined in our text today. So if you have your Bibles handy, I'd like you to take them out right now and turn to your text. I'd also like you to take out your bulletin. And for those of you who are passing the baskets, wait till the basket passes. Don't spill the lifesavers. Get that stuff a little later. I'm getting a little hot in this thing. So I need to take it off. Visual aid. There we go. You just turn on over to Matthew 14. And in your bulletin, you will see, if you remember 2 weeks ago, actually, we had the intro to our SMC, the place to be, SAVED. It is our vision statement. It sort of encapsulates what I hope we can be, I hope we can do with God's help as a church. And I gave you a brief overview 2 weeks ago, where this week we're actually going to start unpacking some of these letters. And so your point is underneath lessons from the lifeguard, Matthew 14:22-33. Can we read it together? Let's give it a go. The point. SMC is the place to be. Spell it SAVED. And S is for salvation. Now, salvation. What are we being saved from? Why do we need to be saved? Why do people drown? We'll be paralleling this with our text. The metaphor of being saved in the context of a lifeguard. Matthew 14. I'm going to read verse 22 through 24. You can follow along if you wish. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone. But the boat was already a considerable distance from the land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Why do people drown? Caitlin told me, fill in the blank number 1. People underestimate the power of the ocean. People underestimate the power of the ocean. Most vacationers like me have absolutely no idea of the power and the vastness of the ocean. It's relentless and unforgiving. Suddenly you can go adrift and end up further out than you realize in dangerous territory. On Daytona Beach, if you are more than 100 yards out, you are over 12 feet deep, and the depth drops considerably the further you go. That's considered the danger area, and many times it isn't like there's a lion out there. This is the ocean. Suddenly, people can find themselves drifting out further than they realize. But Caitlin's watching, and she will see. I believe the disciples thought they were okay. The storm came up, but they thought they were okay. They had no need to turn back when the wind and the waves started buffeting, because they were okay. It's not that bad. We're going to make it. Don't worry. People go through life that way. I'm okay. You're okay. We're just having fun. Do you remember that little ditty about Jack and Diane? Oh yeah. Life goes on. Long after the thrill of living is gone. Many people drift through life singing that song. Oh yeah. Life goes on. Why should we think about the deeper issues or the ultimate reality or destiny of our lives? To quote another popular song, don't worry. What? Be happy. You may be adrift. You may be adrift right now thinking, you know what? Everything is okay. Everything's just fine. Just leave me alone. Let me drift out a little further from shore. Is that your philosophy? Is that the philosophy of friends and family that you have? If it is, please pay close attention to our next section of text. Verses 25 through 29. During the 4th watch of the night, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. It's a ghost, they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, take courage, it is I. Do not be afraid. Lord, if it is you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. Come, he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. When I asked Caitlin why people drown, she said the second reason is they overestimate their own strength. They overestimate their own strength.